Wow.
The nerves. I told you to stop drinking milk before the show. It's not helping. Do I even have it? I don't even have it up. I'm not even sure if we're live. I think it's working. That work? Oh, yeah, we're live. What's going on there, dudes? Let's pretend like we haven't been talking for 30 minutes. What's new in Lewis's world? Lewis, what's going on?
Hi there.
You want to
Good
talk
to
about
hear
your favorite
from you.
band? Steel Panther?
Yeah, my favorite band. Not bad. I mean, they sounds okay.
You know what they're missing though? An accordion, an electric accordion.
Right.
Or maybe like 5 or
That
10 accordions.
Electric accordion, is that a thing?
Oh yeah. Lewis shreds on it.
Hmm.
No?
They make MIDI accordions.
They make what?
MIDI accordions.
Oh really?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Is that like a guitar?
No, it's like
Not at all.
I guess. I mean, they sound like real accordions, but they're MIDI, and they can.
That's wild, man.
Yeah.
Do they have all the chord buttons on
Advanced.
So they have the piano on one side, but do they have the chord buttons on the other side?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Accordion's a
you
tough instrument, man. There's a lot of buttons on that thing.
Yeah, I don't know how people do it.
I used to play it.
You did?
I took lessons for like a year
Wow.
when I was a kid.
Door-to-door salesman?
I still have the accordion too. The thing's a work of art. It has like abalone inlays all over it.
They are
Mother of
beautiful
pearl.
things.
I mean,
Really
it's
beautiful.
enough to make a German man cry.
I had one too while I had a Honda Accord. It was my accordion. I don't know what happened to it though.
You just kept it in there just in case.
Yep. You never know when
In case of Pope
disaster
break
will
glass.
strike and it needs to be regaled via accordion.
Yeah, that is
You know the
true.
old joke, right?
No.
Like you leave the accordion in your car, you come out to the car, and holy crap, the window's broken. It's like, oh my god. You look in, there's 2 accordions in the back seat. That's the classic joke. Only heard that one about 1 million times.
Yeah, man. I think my accordion is still at my parents' house. The thing's a work of art. It's a true beauty. I wonder how much it's worth. Do accordions
About
have value?
$100.
Yeah.
I mean, the problem is they've got, their bellows are paper, and once those
Go out?
yeah, I mean, it's like they age, and then those things need to be replaced. And I don't know if you ever opened up an accordion, but man, they are like
I mean, who hasn't, Lewis?
insane. Like the way that those things work, there's all these pieces of metal and things, and levers and what.
Really?
And so there's all kinds of stuff that can go wrong. And the way that it produces sound is it pushes air through this reed block, and each reed block has a piece of metal on it that you can you tune it by shaving pieces of that metal off or adding more metal solder to it. And there's little leather covers, little flaps that cover the air hole. I mean, it's like a 200-year-old system, right?
Wow, I'm looking at pictures of it right now.
It's insane.
Who figures this stuff out, man? I'm telling you, this is only evidence, more evidence that our ancestors were all smarter than us. I mean, how do you figure this out?
It's incredibly complex. And
but so is virtually every other instrument. I mean, like, could you build a tuba? I couldn't. Could you build a saxophone? How do you know where the keys go and the holes? Who went and figured all that out? It must have taken like 100 years.
yeah, I mean, to me, the accordion seems way more complex than those other things. But
I feel like the easiest one would be to like a piano. It's like, okay, a string makes a sound. It's like we'll make them different lengths and thicknesses.
And then you have a little hammer that hits it. I mean,
yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, I'm not impressed by that, to be honest with you. But a clarinet, a flute, something that you got to figure. How do you know where to drill the hole to adjust the sound and have the different holes that you have to press in order to create a certain sound? That seems absolutely impossible. Like, you'd have to be the architect from the Matrix to know how that would actually work.
The boring answer is that these things are never invented just all at once. Like, it's a very slow iterative process. I really like looking at like historical designs of trumpets to just see how they've like slowly evolved over the years, or any instrument.
Okay, so it took like 100 years.
Yeah, several hundred years, honestly.
It started like with, a piece of bamboo with some holes in it you blew through.
Yeah.
And then you got to recorder eventually. Remember the recorder?
Oh,
Did
yeah.
everybody have a
Had to play one.
recorder? And
Mhm.
I wonder if they surely they don't still do that in school.
I'm not sure. I haven't seen a recorder in a long time.
Didn't they cut every music school from every school system on the entire planet?
I don't know, but I hope they cut the accordion or the recorder. The bane of all parents.
Recorder is, well, what are you gonna do?
I mean, it is cheap. Let's get into it. I always like the xylophone personally. I thought that was a great instrument. I'm on this website that's showing pictures of accordions, and the top says George Whitfield, self-employed accordion player. The jokes write themselves, Lewis. Are they all not self-employed? Are any of them a part of a band in any kind of like? Actually, some of them are. Some of
I'm
them
playing
are.
in a band with an accordion player this weekend.
Are you?
Yeah,
All right. Is he self-employed?
I think he's
He's between gigs right
mostly
now.
retired.
He's perpetually between gigs. Okay, look, no one wants to hear us talk about this stuff. We got Harry Grace, we got Betty Reyes, we got Level Remix, we got Hubbox, we got Curtis Bland, and he's anything but, let me tell you. We've got Tommy T. Oh man, I've been listening to you. This is so offensive. To you bozos for years. Can we get the moderator in here? And this is the first time I get to watch you live. Thank you, YouTube notifications. Oh, we finally got a notification working on YouTube. It does work.
Wow.
All right, everyone. Well, I think we're ready to get rolling. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. It's already 1 o'clock, so we only have about 15 minutes left to do the show, and then we'll be wrapping it up. So let me go ahead and cue up Mrs. You-Know-Who. We'll get this thing rolling. Oh, Mrs. D. Oh, Mrs. D. Oh, my dear, I also like to play instruments. Oh, really, Mrs. D? Which one do you prefer? Oh, well, I like the skin flute from El Caney.
Oh God, that's the worst yet.
Oh my gosh. That was unbelievably uncalled for, Mrs. D, and offensive. Look at Lewis. His face is turning the same color green as that emoji.
This is a not safe for work podcast now. Jeez, what the?
Let's get this thing. Never utter those words again. I apologize to everyone on her behalf. That is just absolutely uncalled for. Mrs. D, if you don't mind, we actually have a lot of show to do here. So put a cork in it. Get those sweet vocal cords warmed up. We'll get the music rolling and get this thing on the road in 3, 2. Hello and welcome to the CultCast, the best 30+ minute Apple conversation you're going to hear all week long. I'm your host, Eric Elijah. Join me today. I'm not saying he offed Leander Caney, but he does have world-conquering ambition, and I find it odd that Leander disappeared some years ago, and he's the only one that ever talks or sees him. He's the managing editor of Cult the Mac. Lewis Wallace is here.
I talked to him just this afternoon.
Oh, sure you did, Lewis.
Everything's fine.
I also heard they caught you wearing his clothes, dancing around the office. We can talk more about that later. Also with us, don't be fooled by his familiar-looking background. He's in an entirely new living compound somewhere in Ohio. Someone noticed the new plant. And his new writing room has reinforced concrete walls to deter unannounced visits from one Lewis Wallace. He's a writer at Cult the Mac. Griffin Jones is here.
Good evening.
No one
and
would
you're
ever
in
know.
the same place as you out have for a while.
How long have you been there?
A few weeks now.
Okay. Somebody did notice the plant, though.
Oh, yeah?
And the lighting looks slightly different. But other than that, I like how you did your best to, create a new set that looked just like the old set.
Exactly. It's the same exact paint color, Milk Toast 2000.
It does.
the
I'm actually
international-
seriously impressed that you pulled that off.
The universal color of walls when you rent a house.
I heard that they just buy a bunch of white paint and just mix it all together and just use that because it's cheap. Like whatever buckets are available, like that people were churned or whatever, they just mix it all together and just use that.
The weird thing is that Griffin, when he was looking for a place on Zillow, he was searching for that exact color. I mean, that was if it didn't have that color in
wasn't
that room, it was a
interested.
deal breaker.
They have a filter there. You wall color and Milk Toast 2000, and it's actually the only option. But it doesn't really reduce your options by that much.
That's what
you
I
still have,
appreciate
like,
about Griffin is
95%.
he wants his computers and his walls to be the same color, beige.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a great color. So who could blame him? Well, look, we got all sorts of stories to cover this week. Big news about Apple making an announcement at the upcoming WWDC, changing up all their OSs. We'll talk about that. It looks like Apple's fast tracking its smart glasses for 2026, so maybe even less than a year away. They got to do something, man. I feel like everyone's making moves but Apple, and their stock not where I need it to be in order for the kids to be going to college. Let's just put it that way. It's had a serious drop and hasn't been making a comeback. It looks like Apple might be adding a massive 200 megapixel camera to a future iPhone. We'll talk about that. We got a new Game Center app. Oh boy, just stay tuned. We'll tell you all about it. And then Griffin's going to tell us how you can keep your iPhone battery from going down the tubes, which I think is a tip that you could also use for your Mac, and it's something that I employ to increase the longevity of my battery. So we'll tell you that. We're going to wrap up with some more listener voicemails. A couple of quick things before we dive in here. A quick housekeeping note. This is my final episode on this show for 3 weeks. I'm going on vacation. And Griffin, good old Grifster, he's going to be taking over. So if anything goes haywire, well, you can blame it on him and let him know. And, well, you can't do it on Twitter. Maybe send him a postcard if you can find his compound address. But I hear he's bringing back all sorts of guests, some serious throwbacks. So, and I don't even know who they are. So this could be incredibly exciting. I am going to be heading to Florida. You may see me at or around Disney World properties. I'll be there for
Mar-a-Lago. I thought you had
well, that's not till week 3, Lewis. So I'm going on a family vacation. I almost never leave. So, and we've gotten it to a point where Griffin can take over and I can actually get out of here for a little while. So I'm looking forward to that. Are we gonna have a video show, Griffin, or not?
I'm going to try, but as you all know, with Skype being discontinued, we moved to a new video platform that I haven't figured out how to use yet, so still need to experiment with that. They will definitely be released every Thursday evening. Yeah. But I'm going to try to get a video that I will properly edit and upload to YouTube. I definitely won't live stream it, but maybe we'll see. Yeah,
maybe we'll see. There's your answer. Well, if there's no live show that happens, it will come out at the regular time in audio. I'm really looking forward to the trip. I never thought I would go back to Disney World, to be honest with you, because the trip is just absolutely outrageously expensive. But we had such a great time. And I don't know if everyone listening knows this. I've got 4 young kids. And just to go and hang out and go on rides and stuff, it's just going to be an absolutely beautiful time together. And some of my kids were too young to actually go on any of the rides last time. So for them, even though they were there, several years ago, this is actually the first time they're probably going to even be able to engage with the park in any way. So it's going to be super fun. I went to Disneyland years ago, and a listener heard me outside of the Indiana Jones ride and was like, Airfon? And we took a picture together. I couldn't believe it. So if you hear someone whose voice sounds like mine and you look at the person and it looks somewhat like me, just come say hi, and you have my permission just to go hug that person. If it's me, it'll work out great. If not, well, you just made a new friend, or you'll get stabbed. One of the two things.
People will pull out like their phones and look at the CultCast artwork to compare, and they'll be like, you look a little. You look like you have more colors than just 2, and you're a little less blocky and pixelated.
To tell from the artwork.
More realistic.
Yeah, absolutely. Or do I look like that in real life? That's what you'll find out. I'm completely just 2-dimensional in so many different respects. Let me also just plug CultCloth. If you have not yet purchased CultCloth, this is a great time to do it. Nothing works better to keep your devices, glasses, computers, all the high-end gear in your life absolutely sparkling clean. I use mine on my Apple Watch all the time. I've said this before. I don't know why, but my Apple Watch gets so oily, and nothing cleans it better than CultCloth.
Jeez.
Yeah, everything's fine. Don't worry about me. Especially because all the nooks and crevices around your Apple Watch and like the digital crown and all the like little divots inside there, all the little fibers of CultCloth reach down in there and just pull out all the grime and dirt, and will keep your device looking absolutely sparkling clean, which is the way I like it. And if you agree, head on over to CultCloth.co, CultCloth.co. You'll get a free extra carry cloth with orders $20 plus. It supports me. It supports the show. We appreciate it. And you'll get yourself the absolute best cleaning cloth that exists in our dimension or others. That's a personal guarantee. Okay, let's go ahead and dive right in. Let's talk about all the news that happened this week with all the different OS stuff. Lewis, fill us in.
Yeah, this is a crazy one. Apple might switch all OS version numbers to years. Apple will overhaul how it names device operating systems and roll out the name changes at WWDC 25, according to, you won't believe who, Mark Gurman.
I was going to guess that.
Yeah, I bet. Starting with this year's releases, Apple will number its software names with 26. So it'll be iOS 26, iPad OS 26, Mac OS 26. The list goes on and on. It's, to keep things sounding fresh and daisy, Apple plans to use the upcoming year rather than the current one. So when they release the stuff in September 2025, it's going to be labeled 26. Next year's stuff will be labeled 27. Makes sense. Because you don't, as somebody pointed out, well, you don't want to, try to sell something in January of 2026 that says 2025. It just sounds
especially
dated.
because Apple usually doesn't release Apple usually doesn't push people to update to their operating system until 0.2 or 0.1 or something like that. And 0.2 doesn't usually release until around December. So, in 2025, you'd wait until December 2025 to get iOS 25. I can see why they would go number +1.
Yeah. Little
Even, it's going to be weird to us
yeah.
Having, iOS 26 released at WWDC 25, but we're the only people who care and know about it as early as June. So
that is true. No mere regular person is ever going to know or care. Although it is kind of confusing if you follow this at all, that suddenly we're going to go from a low number to, 26. And it might make you think that you're missing something and that you may need to upgrade or something. And really there's nothing that's changed except Apple's just rebranding everything. And I think it makes it more clear. At least you'll know what year things came out, which I think is actually kind of helpful.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about in Slack. It's like I'm constantly double checking. Wait a minute, what version of WatchOS are we on right now?
Oh, me too, man. All the time.
They're so, they're just all different, and I think this makes sense, makes it a lot easier. Although you still have the problem of would it be an iPhone 17 on iOS 26? That always confused me. Just the gap between the iOS version and the iPhone number.
Same here.
I've always found that to be the most confusing thing. And this won't really fix that unless this fall they release the iPhone 26.
26, whoa! Maybe we're just gonna jump ahead 9 years. Who knows?
What if they do that and it's like the real iPhone 26? So it's not just the naming convention that's changed; it's 10 versions ahead.
Laser beams. So the other thing that's weird about this is or not weird about it, but it made me wonder. I wonder if when I first saw the headline, I was like, "Oh man, they're changing their name." I thought they're going to get away from the crazy lowercase MAC, uppercase OS. I thought maybe they would go back to the classic, capital MAC, space OS. I was kind of getting excited about that because it always kind of bugs me, Vision OS with all jammed together. But Gurman made no mention of that, so I guess that's probably not going to happen. But I got to say, when this thing came out, I was like, wow, that almost sounds like one of those crazy rumors that they plant to try to burn a leaker, right? It just seems, I was just kind of shocked to hear it. I don't know, for some reason, it really hit me. Wow, why? It's been so long. We've been writing in this certain way. It's, I don't know, man. My hands might not be able to adjust.
I mean, if it wasn't a genuinely good idea for them to do that, I don't know that I would believe this rumor because it's very rare that marketing things leak at all. I mean, Apple intentionally planted fake names for the Vision Pro that everybody fell for. They trademarked 5 different variations of the name, and I think Vision Pro caught us all by surprise. It's very rare for this sort of thing to leak.
I know, man. Yeah. I will forever wonder who Gurman's sources are because he just gets things right so often. And it just makes me think that I'm not accusing the guy of anything. They're in cahoots, man. They're in cahoots big time. His sources are official Apple sources because he's so confident that his intel is accurate. I just don't know. And he's the only one. He's literally the only one. And Apple is doing their best to squash leaks. So how is he able to maintain his level of accuracy? Because you'd think eventually his sources would leave, or they would pipe up because they didn't want to lose their jobs. Cahoots, man, cahoots. All right, did you touch on any of the actual stuff that's coming besides just the naming changes here?
I mean, that's pretty much all that story was. What do you
All
mean? Like, what's going to be in iOS? We already gone over
no,
that?
he also forgive me. Someone was texting me here, so I had to take a quick mental detour here.
Uh-oh.
But he also mentioned that some significant new changes were coming. So like this is not going to just be like a slight overhaul. It's going to be like a pretty big series of changes coming to some of these OSs. So I thought that was worth mentioning.
Well, yeah, I mean that's been out for a while, right? It's going to supposedly all of the operating systems are going to look more similar. They're going to look more like the Vision OS thing with this kind of glassy kind of look and different, like basically a complete overhaul, biggest overhaul. And, we hear this about every other year, biggest overhaul in a decade.
He did actually recently say that WatchOS and tvOS aren't going to be excluded from that. They're going to be touched on too with the redesign. 2 years after WatchOS was just redesigned.
I started thinking about what's that going to look like on the watch, because the watch is still, as much as I use the watch, I'm still like every now and then flummoxed by it. Like the one thing I would really like to be able to do, and I swear to God you can't do it, is add the settings thing to the smart stack, or what pin it to the smart stack.
You can make add a widget to the smart stack that shows you 3 app icons, and you could pin settings to one of those 3 app icons.
I try to do that. Settings does not appear in that list of apps.
Really?
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
I have tried it on multiple watches. I don't understand why.
What's the setting that you always need to change on your watch?
I mean, honestly, mostly I'm just going in there to look to see if the update actually worked. I mean, as with all of my devices, it's set to automatically update.
Well, I can just tell you now, it didn't work. It never does.
Never does.
There's your answer.
It's so freaking irritating, and I always think, well, and then every once in a while, I was like, oh, it updated, great, all right. Anyway, I mean, if somebody knows how to do that, I mean, I don't know. I've looked over and over. I actually thought I was losing my mind. It's like, how can it be that I can't add that to that little set of pinned widgets? But anyway,
it reminded me that I need to charge my watch. So I'm going to put that on the charger right now.
I ended up buying multiple chargers, and I just leave them all over the place. Just so I can charge one at my desk, charge it in my car, charge it when I go to the office. It's like I just want to have chargers everywhere now, and it sucks because like the ultra chargers are not cheap. They're $30 each because they're like the higher wattage versions. If you use like a regular Apple Watch charger, you'll have a full on mutton chops and beard before your Apple Watch is done charging. So I ended up having to plurk down like an extra $60 just to get the extra chargers.
I hate the way, though, if you've got like multiple watches on multiple chargers around the thing, you've always got an alarm going off, ding, ding, ding. It's always an alarm.
Yeah, that does bug me as well. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about smart glasses, Griffin. Because Apple's got to do something to get the stock price up, and I think this might be our play.
Well,
I don't care if they work.
But let's see.
I don't care if
Apple
people like
now
them.
Apple now plans to have its first smart glasses on the market by the end of 2026, according to an unconfirmed report by Bloomberg. Previously, rumors indicated that the chip to go into Jesus, this needs some editing here. Previously, rumors
Get a
indicated
copy
that
editor
the chip
over here, Lewis.
to go into the product wouldn't even be ready until at least that time. The rumored feature set takes advantage of Apple's work on artificial intelligence, including visual intelligence. Quote, Apple's glasses would have cameras, microphones, and speakers, allowing them to analyze the external world and take requests via the Siri voice assistant. They could also handle tasks such as phone calls, music playback, live translations, and turn-by-turn directions, said Bloomberg. So this sounds like kind of like the Meta smart glasses, except because it's built by Apple, it'll be able to do a few additional things like directions and translation and stuff like that, features that are elsewhere, but it'll nice to just have on your face instead of staring down at your wrist or at your hand.
Siri on your face, wow.
Mm-hmm. Imagine that. That's what the new Siri has been missing. It needs to be on your face. Oh, imagine you talk to Siri on this thing, and on your iPhone you can see like that little glow around the edge of the phone. You'll see like the glow around the edge of your glasses, like are all around your field of view.
You feel like you're having a stroke.
Yeah,
that's great. And it'll be like a total coin flip. It's an answer on your watch or your glasses or your phone or your HomePod.
Right,
It's
exactly.
like
Even
you
though the
gotta
glasses
flip
are on
2
your
coins.
face, it will still answer from your HomePod across the room.
Yeah.
God, it drives me
It's not
insane.
yet clear whether the first generation Apple glasses will have a screen. They could be entirely voice controlled, which would reduce the cost and weight while increasing battery life. So this kind of sounds like a HomePod in a way. It's just like a HomePod glasses on your face. The first generation of Ray-Ban Meta glasses attracted plenty of buyers without a display, but a version with a screen will supposedly launch later this year. So right around the time that Apple is ramping up speed on this thing, and they're going to have something no earlier than by the end of next year, everyone else has already surpassed them. Cupertino supposedly plans to build its smart glasses around a simplified version of the chip now used in the Apple Watch, which will limit its capabilities but lengthen its battery life. It'll be many years before Apple can put the power of Vision Pro into a glasses form factor. So this is a different approach. Tesla was not the first modern electric car. There were others before, but I think what set them apart was their different business plan. Like all the electric car companies, startups in the mid 2000s that have disappeared and nobody knows anymore, like Miles, they were trying to go from the low end, like, build a small, lightweight, cheap electric car for like, they couldn't make anything for less than $20,000. And then you would have a worse car that's like worse in every way. Tesla, regardless of everything going on with Elon Musk, their genuine innovation was that they started from the high end and worked down, with the Tesla Roadster, then to the Model S, which is an ultra luxury car, and then to the Model 3 and all that. And that seemed to be Apple's approach with the Vision Pro.
That's been Apple's approach with everything.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Build the incredibly expensive thing and then work our way down. And then eventually it might happen to be cheap enough for ordinary people to buy. It seems like that approach isn't working for the smart glasses area. And I think maybe like going from the bottom up, it sounds like they're going to try to work the problem from two different directions. This cheap, low cost device that only does a few basic things right, and also the incredibly expensive face computer with the Vision Pro. And then eventually, 10 years, these will meet in the middle as the glasses that you'll want to, that'll have the power equivalent of an iPhone. What do you think?
The problem with the Vision Pro is even though it's like state of the art isn't state enough. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's for what it is, it's an outstanding device and it's an exemplar of what's possible, but it doesn't actually do anything that I don't think regular people need to do. And I don't know if that's a problem or not, because the Apple Watch was kind of the same way. Although I feel like in its basic premise, the Apple Watch made more sense because it's like a watch. People know what that is. That's like not a new paradigm. The iPhone obviously was a huge one. The MacBook Air was obviously a huge one. And the Vision Pro, it's like, even though it's the best at what it doesn't do anything that people need. So I'm not worried about it yet because I know that Apple's dedicated to it, and I think that they are good at figuring things out as they go along, and they will improve the product as technology improves. But I do find it interesting that they've released this product that's super expensive, that has bells and whistles that we've never seen before, and they still can't sell it because people just don't really know what to do with it, except for, Griffin, obviously. I think the glasses are going to be kind of the same thing. I feel like they're kind of following the trend here with a product that seems to resonate with some people, and it's not what Apple wanted to build, but they're seeing that people are willing to actually buy this. I don't really understand why people like the Meta glasses. I understand what they do. I still don't understand why you would want to have those, but
I think keeping it simple helps it a lot. Like, people, because the Vision Pro it's a computer. It does everything. People don't have a concept of what they would do with it. It's too big. It's too big of an idea. Like a computer on my face. Like, whereas like this is simple enough to explain. Oh, it's AirPods you can wear. It's directions you can, have narrated to you. It's a speaker wherever you go, where you don't have to put something on or over your ears. It's a much more simple thing to explain to people.
We've talked about this before, and I think the piece that just kind of connected to my brain is, so I've had MP3 sunglasses before. In fact, Anka made a pair called the Soundcore frames. They were great, man. Terrific sunglasses, and they connected to your phone via Bluetooth. But the problem was, and I think this is where Apple will make a product that will resonate with people who are in the ecosystem, is they don't have that beautiful AirPods connection functionality, right? Where it's like it just works and it connects as soon as you put them on, and like you can control everything from your phone, and the streaming doesn't like drop out or anything. Now the frames did that too, but they were kind of a little bit quirky. They never really worked exactly the way you expected them to, and these will be seamless. And the things I loved about the frames is you don't have to put anything in your ears. It just creates like ethereal sound right around your ears, and you're not actually wearing AirPods. So you still have full situational awareness, and people don't look at you and think, oh, you can't hear me because you're wearing something in your ears. And then also you'll get the picture functionality, which I think that also, maybe just those two things alone are enough for these to sell. In fact, I'm talking myself into buying them right now. I don't even know how much they're going to cost, but I'll pay literally anything to get my hands on them. As long as they're actually really excellent sunglasses. I think what the Anchor frames did really well is they were really high-end sunglasses, like better than Ray-Bans or equivalent to Ray-Bans. And you could change out the fronts. I wish I had them here. I would show them to you all. You could change out the fronts. Like the stems were really where the technology lived. But the fronts were interchangeable. So you could just like buy a new pair of like the actual glasses part, pull the stems off, put the stems on the new sunglasses, and you have like a brand new pair of sunglasses if you scratched them or anything. And people would always compliment me on those sunglasses because they've actually made cool designs. So Apple has to make sure that whatever they design, it's going to be something that people actually want to wear on their face, which is kind of hard because people have different taste in sunglasses, you know?
And face shapes.
So in a way, Anker was ahead of the curve, right? Because they made it so that you could change them out. So I would hope that Apple would do something similar, but Meta hasn't. Theirs are just the way they are.
Well,
And
if Apple comes with one in a tortoise brown, I'll buy it on day one.
I'm also a fan of tortoise brown, although I want the tortoise brown lenses. I don't really like black lenses. I like lenses that add a little bit of warmth to, you know, like what you're looking through. I would love a pair of orange lenses if I'm being completely transparent. I think orange is seriously underrated. Then you could walk around like you're Bono. You could put your album on people's iPhones without even asking. There's a lot of privilege that comes with that.
It has hand tracking, so it can detect when you touch fingers with Tim Cook. And every time somebody does that,
it sends like a little electrical pulse into your brainstem.
It starts playing songs of innocence.
It's a beautiful day. Yeah, that's exactly it. As soon as it sees two people touch fingers anywhere, it just immediately starts playing It's a Beautiful Day. That's a feature I'd pay for. I actually love U2. I think people bag on U2 way too much, man. They're like one of like the best bands that have ever existed. But anyway, Louis, were you about to say something? Or should we move on?
You'll be watching the Bono documentary, I guess. So, I mean, people keep talking about these Meta glasses being popular. I don't know that I've ever seen anybody wearing them in public.
I don't know that you would notice though, because that
might be true.
Yeah, because they just look like slightly thicker versions of regular sunglasses.
Do you know if you've ever seen anyone wearing them?
No, I haven't, but I've never looked. So they're so discreet that I don't know that you would actually notice unless the person was like literally standing right in front of you talking.
And probably only if they're recording your conversation. There's a bright light shiny. Yeah,
I don't think they do that. I think that they do that.
I think they. Are you sure? I thought they had some kind of indication that they were recording. I find it still amazing that, I mean, that Apple hasn't done that. But I mean, if you think about, Google Glass came out in 2013. That was, I mean, 12 years ago. And I mean, that wasn't a huge roaring success. In fact, it was a very controversial product. But I mean, I demoed those things one time, and you could see like, oh, you know, turn right at this next thing. You know, it had that navigation stuff going back then. How is it possible that Apple has taken, you know, an additional decade to get anywhere close to that? I mean, maybe they've got prototypes right now that, you know, they're just not quite up to snuff, right? But I don't know. Like, I wouldn't know what the big delay is. You know, it just seems like if this is a product that people are actually going to use, then what are we waiting for here?
I hate to even say this, but for the first time in my life, the other night, I had a nightmare about AI. I've been doing deep dives, as many of you know. And have you been following any of the stuff that came out of like Google VO or the Google I/O, and they announced it, the VO 3, like their AI video engine? I mean, the stuff they're able to do now is absolutely mind-splitting. And I always say, this is the worst it's ever going to be. I mean, it just keeps getting better and better and better. I think at a certain point, these gadgets are going to exist in a way where you're just constantly recording video and audio at all times. And AI is just processing through all of this material that you're feeding it. And it's like taking notes, giving you updates on things that you need to remember, editing videos on your behalf to show you things that have happened in your life. And I kind of think that this might be a first step in that direction to something that you could wear that can have that continuous recording. And we were totally on point. I saw other podcasts last week talking about the partnership between Johnny Ive and OpenAI and like the types of devices that they're going to be creating, and how this new device really is like where Apple was trying to head, and now OpenAI is going to probably beat them to that position because they have like the AI technology already that Apple's years behind. And now they've got Johnny Ive to create the device, and like they're probably going to start releasing devices that integrate tightly with OpenAI products. I don't know how much y'all use ChatGPT.
What OpenAI products? They don't have a smartphone.
They don't yet.
They have the AI, but you know what? Apple has the phone that people like to use.
Yeah, but they've got the guy who designed the phone. That's the point. It's like, so there is, I think, a future that exists that we're not at yet, where OpenAI is making the devices that Apple makes, but they're tightly integrated with the actual AI tech that Apple's trying to build themselves, and I think is probably years behind in doing, and integrated in such a way that it just makes access to these AI features that they're building constantly present and something that you actually want to use. I mean, imagine being able to talk to ChatGPT the way you talk to Siri, except it actually works, right? It understands you. It goes and gets you answers. It goes and does things for you. It has agentic features, meaning that it can go do things without your participation. You're like, hey, I need you to book me a reservation and a hotel room and a flight, and I want to make sure that my costs are below blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay. And it goes and does that. Oh, did I just lose signal?
Yeah, you did.
You know what?
Video's gone.
You know what I just realized?
Your camera's battery is dead.
I was running my camera on battery power. So let me plug it in and resolve that situation. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, it's
Very
kind
quietly.
All right. Well, I completely lost my train of thought.
Yeah, hard to believe.
So hold on, let's see if it comes back in 3, 2.
Why don't you take it back to the nightmare that you had?
God, I don't even remember what the nightmare was about. It was just about.
Oh,
It was about a
good.
battery that keeps dying.
What am I? Hold on.
welcome to the liminal part of the podcast that I'm going to edit out of the audio version.
No,
there
that's
you
the best stuff. I'm back. I don't know why I did that. I plugged it back into the out. Oh, let's do it again. Hold on a sec.
Maybe the battery's too low for it to hold a charge and function at the same time.
Well,
This is a new
okay,
one.
I just took the battery off. I think what it was
okay.
trying to do was keep going to the battery, even though it's plugged in now. So that's weird. I don't remember what the dream was about. I just remember waking up and I was like, because I've been going deep in the AI stuff, just researching, and I don't want to be a doomer, but I understand now why people are concerned. Like when you talk to people who are in the AI space, Elon Musk, it's so good and it's moving so fast. I just don't know that we understand what the ramifications are going to be societally. Societally? That's a real word, right? On jobs,
GPT.
on national security, on creativity. I mean, the fact that you can describe a scene from a movie and make it in VO3 and it's like pretty dang good. I mean, look, it's not going to remake Lord of the Rings in a way that is going to have people, as impressed as the Peter Jackson production, but wait 2 years. And there's going to be a lot of disruption that happens. And it's so smart. I mean, there is like this YouTube video. There's like this genre of YouTube videos that exist where people make a moving, like still image, and then they put music to it. It's like an ambient type music video. And I watch a lot of these, just like as I work. I have them on in the background, and like it kind of creates a vibe, and like the music's there too. I don't know anything about these videos at all. So I just go into ChatGPT and I'm like, can you tell me anything about like these videos? Like, here's a creator. What is this video? Like, what are people, how are they made? And it's like, boom. Oh yes, I know everything there is to know about this topic, and it describes me what the genre is, who the top creators are, the tools that they use to make those videos, how they're made, how long it takes to make them. I was like, dude, this is mind-blowing. I gave it almost no information. And yet from that small directive, it inferred all of this different stuff. And I've had that experience over and over and over and over again. And to quote myself from 5 minutes ago, this is the worst it's ever going to be. It's going to just keep getting better. And things are growing exponentially. So a year from now, we'll probably have the same level of progress that we had in the last 4 years, but now in 1 year. And that's just going to keep happening. And the only limitation that I see is we don't have enough data centers to house all the GPUs that they need. And then also the absolutely insane power needs that these data centers require. We literally don't have enough power to power all of these different data centers. So anyway, just ruminating on all this stuff, I ended up having a nightmare where I was giving AI directives to some chatbot or something. I don't remember what the context was because I never remember my dreams. In fact, it's surprising I even remember that I had a dream because I never even do that. But I remember waking up and being disturbed. And all I'm saying is no one thought that Terminator 2 was a documentary. And it's slowly becoming one. Like, I saw a meme the other day of someone who created a picture of Sarah Connor. In fact, I almost sent it to you, Lewis. I'm not sure I ever did. It was like an 80s pixelated image of Sarah Connor, and she's like staring out the shades with like a smoke hanging out of her mouth, and like the ashes is like an inch and a half long. And the caption was, Sarah Connor watching you use AI for everything in your life, right? It's like this is like the precursor to what happens in Terminator 3, which I won't spoil it for you, but it kind of gives you some more.
It wasn't good, was it?
I loved it, actually. I thought Terminator 3 was great. It's not as good as 2.
I mean the events portrayed.
Oh, the events, no.
That's not a good.
It's not a good outcome
for humans.
Well, it's a great outcome if you're not human. If you're a machine, it's a terrific outcome. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, man, the AI stuff is just so bonkers. I won't keep going on and on and on and on and on. But all right. Should we talk about iPhone? Sorry, I'm trying to read the chat.
How did you end up with? Yeah, that's great. You ended up with a couple of stories. That's great.
I know. Isn't that wonderful?
Congratulations.
Well, you know what, my friends? If you're disappointed with the iPhone's camera, or maybe you're just like, you know what? I want to know what's next. We got some potentially good news here. We had a leak this week that Apple might be going with an ultra high-res 200 megapixel camera in an upcoming iPhone. Which upcoming iPhone? Well, we don't know about that. But the post came on Weibo. Did not provide a lot of details. All it said is that a potential 200 megapixel primary camera might be coming to future iPhones. Didn't say anything about whether or not it's going to have a larger sensor, which, you definitely don't need a larger sensor. I think this whole movement to just pack as many megapixels as possible onto a phone is kind of an odd one. In fact, I'm not even really sure what the benefits are, aside from the fact that you could digitally zoom because there's just more megapixels there to crop out as you're digitally zooming. But
you could do more pixel binning, which you would combine with even more processing on it to combine them and get maybe brighter images and reduce noise overall. But yeah,
I guess that's true. Yeah.
If you don't have a bigger sensor, the image fidelity isn't actually going to increase really.
Yeah. In fact, it could make it worse because the smaller you make the pixels, typically the worse quality the pixels are. Mm-hmm. So that's why some of the best-selling cameras have really low-resolution megapixel counts, like the Sony A7S III, which is like still one of the most popular cameras that exists as a 12-megapixel sensor. But the thing can like see in like almost near darkness and still create a beautiful image. So I'll be curious to see, the quality of said images from 200 megapixels. I'm also curious to see the file size. I mean, that's kind of one of the downsides. It's like the more megapixels you have, the bigger the more space the images take, which of course isn't a problem. You just pay for more iCloud storage. Am I right, Lewis? Not a problem. Not a problem.
So easy to upgrade.
which I mean, I'm not just trying to be a pessimist here, but like I actually think I would turn off the 200 megapixels just for that reason, because I don't want to just clutter up. I take so many.
I don't think they would have it enabled by default. Like even with the 48 megapixel shooter, the default picture resolution is 24 megapixels.
That's true.
Like
That's
Apple puts it like squarely in the middle there, and you can turn on and take 48 megapixel RAWs if you want, but it's I mean, it's available on all the phones, but they really market that as being a pro phone feature.
Yeah, I think you're probably right about that. They'll probably work on it in some way where it doesn't exist, across the board. At 200 megapixels, there'll be like certain features where you'll be able to use it, or they'll downscale the image or whatever. But just a heads up, that's coming down the pipe.
I will say that would be a great time for Apple to move image formats to JPEG XL. They added like a little bit of support for JPEG XL, I think earlier in iOS 18, but they haven't like really, fully transitioned to it. It's one of those all-encompassing imaging formats that's like backwards compatible with JPEG, so you don't have to worry about that. It also supports animated images, so it could replace JPEG XL could replace the GIF as well. Like it's a very awesome format the more you look into it, but they haven't like fully committed to it yet. And you know what? If they're switching to 200 megapixel images, it would be a great way to, reduce those file sizes back down again.
Yeah, that's also true. I'm always a fan of whatever camera improvements they're going to make. I mean, it's for better or for worse, it's most people's, only camera. In fact, on this trip I'm going on, I'm trying to decide whether or not I want to bring a camera with me or just use my iPhone, because the iPhone is good in so many scenarios. It's good in so many scenarios, but not great in most of them. Does that make sense? It doesn't take the best pictures in all situations, but in high dynamic situations, it takes really good pictures. In fact, it surpasses, I think, even some more expensive cameras. So I'm like, do I want a camera with me?
It takes the best videos.
It takes great videos, and the zoom functionality, where you can like zoom in and out with your thumb, is one of the most brilliant UI mechanisms or UX mechanisms I think that has ever been invented on any piece of technology. It's like zooming in and out is so easy to do on your iPhone, and that's not something that you see in almost any other. In fact, in any device, I don't know that there's another device that makes it as easy to zoom in and out, and especially for that zoom range that it has, like up to 5x. Oh man, it's just so buttery smooth. But I'm still gonna end up taking, like, no joke, probably 3 cameras with me on this trip, because I want to just test things out. I'm gonna take a GoPro for like when I want to go in the water, and also on like fast moving rides.
Do you wear a helmet when you go to the park?
Not
mounted on top.
Not typically. No, I'm gonna take my DJI Osmo Pocket 3, because that thing is an absolute monster camera. It looks beautiful in so many different situations. In fact, it's become like the camera of choice for most bloggers, or vloggers, I should say. And it's really a great camera for low light situations as well. And the stability, like the image stabilization on that camera, is unparalleled. I don't think that there's anything else that does better, unless you want to carry like a full on gimbal with like a DSLR attached to it or something. It is astoundingly good, but not great for action scenarios. So I'm taking those 2, and then I'm going to take probably my Fujifilm X100 so I can take like actual good stills. I know this is crazy. I can't believe I'm taking all these cameras, but I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to take them all with me every day. I probably will.
God.
I probably will.
Do you have one of those tech vests, like a Scotty tech vest?
Who's that Japanese kid in the Goonies? I'm gonna be like him with all like the gadgets attached to like in my. Oh man, that's gonna be me. Yeah, but I can tell you why I'm taking each camera. I mean, maybe I don't need to take my GoPro. Like that could be the one that I don't take. But it's so versatile. I mean, the GoPro has a screen on the front and the back, so you can flip it around and you can frame your image really easily. And it's like you can't do that with your iPhone. The DJI Osmo Pocket 3, because it has the gimbal, like you can't whip it around because, it has a moving piece at the top of it. You're going to break it if you start trying to whip it all around. So the GoPro is perfect for like fast moving scenes like roller coasters. Or just going in the water, because the thing's like indestructible. And the GoPro, I should say the GoPro stabilization is also very good, but not good in low light because it doesn't have a physical gimbal on it like the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. I'm sorry, this is probably boring everyone, but I've just done all this research, and so I'm like, all right, let's go and take all these different cameras and use them all for different situations.
If I'm not
Or
mistaken, doesn't the Osmo have like a button you can press that'll like mechanically like spin the camera around?
it does. Well, you got to like triple press the joystick, which I think is kind of clumsy. Like I feel like it needs an actual button to press that flips it back and forth. But even if it had that actual button, it doesn't happen fast. It has to like swing its whole gimbal around. Whereas the GoPro, I have like this little handle with it, and I can literally just go boom, 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 and just whip it back and forth, and nothing else that I know of works that fast. And it has a screen on the front and the back. Whereas the DJI Pocket Osmo 3, I can't believe I'm able to say that fast. The screen's only on the front, so you can't just whip it back and forth. You have to literally press the button. The gimbal swings around. It's a great camera, just not for fast-moving things. So anyway, that's going to be me walking around Disney World with my plethora of gadgets. I probably could just use my iPhone.
Yeah.
But the iPhone doesn't have a screen on the back, so you can't frame yourself in that situation. Plus, it's awkward to hold. Like you're not holding an iPhone as you're going down a roller coaster. Like you could, but good luck. That's a great way to lose your iPhone. You can't hold on to it when you're getting whipped around.
Nice case with a pop socket and a wrist strap.
Yeah, something to keep that thing from flying away. But again, you can't. Like I took a really great video last time I was at Disney World with my kids. They were in the car in front of me on Thunder Mountain, and I was like whipping the camera forward and back, showing me, showing them, showing me, showing them, and showing the track, right? And you can't do that with an iPhone because as soon as you turn it, you can't see what you're looking at anymore. So there's really it depends on what kind of shot you want. There's only kind of one way to do that, and you kind of have to have the GoPro, in my opinion. So anyway, hey, anything for the memories, Lewis. Anything
for the roller coaster whipping around shot.
And that video, every time we watch it, we all just laugh and laugh and laugh. Like it's like because you're going up and down and around and getting whipped left and right, and the only way I could have got that shot was with the GoPro. Like nothing else that I own would have done that. I mean, maybe the iPhone if I just kept it, pointed at one direction, but then I couldn't be in it. And, my kids want to see me getting, tossed all around. All right. Let me just mention this story real fast and we'll move on with our lives. Apple plans to replace the Game Center app, or plans to replace Game Center with a new gaming-focused app. A new cross-platform application developed by Apple will call attention to games on iPhone, Mac, and even Apple TV, according to an unconfirmed report on Tuesday. I have not thought about Game Center since they redesigned it. Back when Johnny Ive was still with the company. It'll replace the current Game Center, track users' in-game achievements, give players a way to talk about other gamers and more. The new app will feature editorial content from Apple about new titles and offer access to App Store game content stuff and promote arcade, of course. It will also show you achievements that you've earned in various games, as well as leaderboards, so on and so forth. The leak from Apple insiders to Bloomberg doesn't include the name of the upcoming app. It'll probably be something like Apple Games. Yeah, probably. So I would be shocked if a single person listening to this program today cares about this story at all. But you know what?
I have a theory.
Yeah, all right.
There are two ways Apple could go with this. The little way and the big way. The little thing they could do, which is probably the most likely thing, is they just bring back the dedicated Game Center app, and that's what this is. Because like Game Center never went away. They just removed the app around like iOS 9 or something like that and just buried it in settings. But they kept adding more Game Center features that have just been harder to find.
Yeah.
So the simple thing is they just bring back the Game Center app. The bigger idea that could happen is Apple splits off games from the rest of the App Store and has a separate game store with different rules. Maybe it has like the same 70-30 split, but the App Store switches their payment system. They go all in on games and like try to pitch this new game store version of the App Store as like the Apple equivalent of like the Steam store or something like that. And then they try it for a few years and it doesn't go anywhere, but they can say they've tried.
Hey, you know what? I got no hate for Apple trying to do something just to make an app that maybe doesn't get any love better. It's hard when you're at a company like Apple or any company to put any engineering effort or design effort into an app that doesn't really get used that much is something that you typically shy away from because like they want to focus on the areas that have the biggest ROI. So I appreciate that Apple's actually trying to improve something that probably doesn't get a lot of use, but they don't want to retire, right? So it's like you got to do
Completely
something.
unrelated
With it.
question, Arafon. Have you planned any parties using the Apple Invites app?
I have not, but I can see that app actually being quite popular because it's so practical. I don't. The problem is not that I don't want to use the app. The problem is I don't have any parties, so I have no reason to use the app. But next time I have to plan a party, or the next time my wife is planning a party, I'm going to suggest it. Yeah, I hear the dubious nature of your I think you'll be pleasantly surprised.
When you mentioned, Apple, they sometimes put like, a few hours into like making one of these random apps, something like that. That just popped back in my head, and I realized I hadn't thought about the Invites app in like 3 months.
I haven't either, not since we talked about it. But now I'm gonna. All right, I think that's it for Apple news this week. But
did we want to cut that how-to and go straight to Speakpipe voicemails?
Yeah,
No
we might want to
way.
do that.
Oh, this is great.
I don't think we should cut it. I think you should plug it. For sure.
Okay.
Because it is interesting. In fact, yeah, just go ahead and do it. I mean, it's pretty short.
I give myself a clean edit point here.
Yeah.
Moving right along, a few weeks ago, I think we were talking randomly about like iPhone battery health or something like that. And I decided to write up the advice that I gave you off the cuff on the show as a proper article, how to keep your iPhone battery from going to crap, proper instructions and a video. Basically, limit your charging to 80%. Keep your phone on a MagSafe charger as much as you can. The combination of those two things will, prevent your battery from being overtaxed all the time, and which will promote long-term battery health. As counterintuitive as it sounds, like reducing your maximum charge to 80% to improve battery life, it actually improves the health.
That makes a huge one.
Yeah,
that's a huge one. That makes a huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
Although it does reduce your capacity by 20%, which I often find to be annoying, but it does work.
Well, combine it with step 2, keep it on a MagSafe charger as much as you can all the time, which is what I do. And, I'm still under 200 cycles on my battery that I got on day 1, and it's still at 100%. So,
well, that is surprising because if you leave it on or you say MagSafe charger, do you mean a charger in general, or do you specifically mean MagSafe?
I guess any charger, but it's MagSafe ones are more convenient.
Yeah. I'm surprised that doesn't degrade the battery because it puts it into a trickle charge state. So it's constantly keeping the battery charged. And you would think that would degrade the battery faster, but maybe it doesn't make any difference because like whether you're using the battery all the way down to 20% and then charging it back up or just keeping it constantly microcharged, it seems like maybe it does the same thing. I'm looking to see what my battery percentage is right now.
And the final tip is reduce how much it drains in a single day. So, which you'll probably want to do anyways if you're, only maximum charging it to 80%. But, reducing how much it drains in a day reduces the overall number of battery cycles that it has to go through. So I have a few tips in there as well. Like, liberally use low power mode whenever you can. Don't just wait until it gets down to 20%. Like if you're having a big day out, maybe turn it on in advance, stay on Wi-Fi as much as you can. Don't force quit your apps. Those are my 3 big ones.
I don't know why Apple hasn't added this kind of functionality in for Mac. They did it for iPad, but they don't have anything like this for Mac. So I've been using an app called Al Dente, which is free to use. It has some pro features, which I haven't found that I've needed. But Al Dente lets you tell it how high you want your battery to charge, and then it just stops the charging there. And I've been using that on my Mac to kind of keep it, at a good state so I can leave it plugged in more often. My phone cycle count, 229 on my battery, 100% capacity. Dude, it works. Absolutely. It works so well. I mean, again, you're making a trade-off because you're not going to have access to your full capacity all the time. And I wish there were an easier way to be like, okay, charge it to full capacity now. In fact, I wish you could schedule it. Like, I want you to keep my phone, at 80% until Thursday at 9 a.m., in which case I want you to have it charged to 100%. Like, why can't you do that yet? Mm-hmm. Like, I hate how Apple tries to manage it all. Like, the whole optimized charging thing, I get the premise, but in practicality, it doesn't work. Like, I don't want you to figure out when I want my battery charged. I will tell you when I want my battery charged.
Like a week ago when I wrote that article, I was at 192 cycles, and it's been like a full 7 days, and I've charged it every night. but I'm only now at 196 cycles. So, that's what it means. Like, it reduces the amount of times that your battery
Really?
has to like drain itself and go back up again.
Interesting.
And
I would
that's
have
what kills
guessed
the
that
battery
it
over
still would have
time.
counted that as a cycle, though. Maybe not.
Hmm.
Oh, interesting. Anyway, we're going to link to the story. There's more tips in here, and there's a video, too. So we'll link to the story, and you can go check it out if you want to know how to preserve your battery life. And if you are someone that keeps your devices for a long time, dude, no brainer. You should absolutely be employing all these tips. That's why I'm doing it on my Mac. Because like my iPhone, I typically upgrade every year. My Mac, not so much. So I want the battery to last as long as possible.
Pretty close though.
Well, every couple of years, No, wait, dude. This Mac, I absolutely love the M4 Max, the maxed out MacBook Pro, the 15-inch. God, all the negative press I heard about the 15-inch. I've never owned a 15-inch, and I heard so many complaints about it being loud and the fans always coming on and blah 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 blah. Definitely don't upgrade to more cores. And I think there probably is some truth to that sentiment. Maybe I'm not pushing my Mac hard enough, but I have never heard the fans come on. Not once since I've owned the machine. It's so much more portable, and it's such a delight to use it. And my 16-inch MacBook Pro, like I love that machine, but it was significantly heavier. I think it was like 1.5 pounds heavier. And dude, you feel that for sure. Like the 14-inch or the 15-inch, the 14-inch. Gosh,
No, it's 14.
I keep saying 15. No one's correcting me. It feels like a toy. It's like so light.
Confused.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. Should we go to listener voicemails? We got a few more. So let's wrap up with some of these voicemails. If you want to leave a message for us, we would love to play them on a future show. Speakpipe.com/CultCast. Speakpipe.com/CultCast. You can also text us. There's a link in the show notes if you want to send us a text. In fact, didn't we get a text message recently that we wanted to read? I swear we did. Look it up. Someone.
I have a hot stock tip. Get in on this now. Click here.
I did get that text, Lewis. Thank you.
Yeah, great.
It didn't seem like a great stock. I'll be honest with you. Let's see here. Oh yeah, we got a bunch of stuff. Some people are still complaining that they're not getting the episodes. We got to figure this out, man. It's not a lot. It's definitely dwindled down. But we're not sure what the problem is. So if you're having the issue still, send us a text. Let us know. And we'll try to get that ironed out. Okay, let me go ahead and boot up. Here we go. This first one comes from Paul. CarPlay hot takes. Let's see what Paul has to say. Is this thing on? Oh, I think it's working. Or not. Let me refresh the page. Let's try again.
All right, I got some hot takes on CarPlay. First of all, wireless CarPlay kind of sucks. You have it, it's got to sit on the charger. If it's built into the vehicle charger, it's probably not like that fast. Your phone is getting hot because it's on a charger. It's getting hot because it's transmitting wirelessly. And then it's also just in a hot car. And so you end up with this like extremely overheated phone. And I don't know, it's the stuff is going wild.
So wait a second. I didn't mean to pause it right there, but that's interesting. So I'm using a third-party CarPlay screen called the CarPod Go, and you don't have to have the phone plugged into anything or laying on anything. You can literally have the phone in your pocket, and it still works.
I think it varies very much by car manufacturer. Like I hear a lot of people complain about wireless CarPlay and that it's really laggy and all that. But I'll say the most experience I have with that is somebody I know with like a Hyundai Venue, and for whatever reason, it's not the most expensive car. It's kind of like a budget, like little crossover SUV shaped thing, but like it has incredibly reliable wireless CarPlay.
Huh.
Maybe it's just like a Hyundai thing that their wireless CarPlay is better, but it's absolutely flawless and super responsive.
Dude, the CarPod Go, I'm telling you, I finally found one thing about it that I don't like, and I don't even know if this is a problem with the CarPod Go. So the CarPod Go, like I said, you can buy it on Amazon. I think it's like $220, and it's a screen that you attach to your dashboard or your windshield. The wireless CarPlay is like flawless. It almost never has any issues. I think I maybe have had it not connect one time and I just restarted it, and which is really easy to do, and it worked. The only thing I don't like about it is at 6 p.m., for whatever reason, it goes from a daylight map to a night map. Now,
I think that's all CarPlay, isn't it?
it might be all CarPlay, but in my version of CarPlay, you can set the map. You can set the map lighting. I don't know how else to call it. It's whether you have like a daytime map or like a nighttime map, right? Because it goes in like dark mode. You can set it to automatic, or you can set it to dark mode. There's no light mode, and I think this might be a CarPlay thing. And so at 6 p.m. it goes dark. Well, in Seattle, it's light until 10 o'clock right now. So I can't see the map with my sunglasses on, and I don't know how to fix it. That is literally the only problem. Other than that, my phone could be in the trunk, and the wireless is like absolutely flawless. The map works great. So that is weird that you have to have it on like an actual magnetic pad. All right, let's see what else Paul has to say. This is a hot take. He wasn't lying.
Wireless, just asking for trouble. I'm not about it. I think it's pretty easy to just plug your phone in. So I don't know if I really believe in wireless CarPlay.
Oh, you will, my
As for
friend.
Ultra, here's my thought on that. I kind of think they might have named it Ultra in somewhat of an admission that they've given up on CarPlay too. In that they're saying like CarPlay Ultra will only be on ultra premium vehicles and things like that. I don't know. Maybe there's evidence to the contrary. I'm not sure, but it is interesting, and I'm not entirely sure this one's going to trickle down to normal cars. It might stay up at the premiums because they've had difficulty having manufacturers adopt the full CarPlay system and all that. All right. See you guys. Bye.
All right, some good hot takes from Paul. What do you think about that, Griffin?
Well, they did also announce that Hyundai and Kia will be adopting CarPlay Ultra, so I'm not so sure about that there. But
Okay.
I guess that's the takeaway from this message. Buy a Hyundai.
I'm not sure I will do that. Not sure I'll do that. I have
I'm
heard
not sure
nothing
I
but
will either.
You know what? People seem to really like Hyundais, but I have heard they are one of the most unreliable cars that exist.
They've really turned around in like the last 10 years or so.
And they made them better?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't heard that. Because like I watch like mechanic YouTube channels, and like they seem to really be hit or miss. Like people either have one that's reliable, but more often, like as soon as it gets past the warranty, 100,000 miles, it's just like one problem after another. So maybe buy a new Hyundai, but not a used one until
As always, check consumer reports for this thing or look up vehicle reliability numbers. But yeah, I think they're pretty above the middle of the pack as far as reliability goes.
Well, the thing I don't
At least
like
the
about
newer ones.
consumer reports is they don't monitor the car outside the warranty period. They only monitor it for like the first 3 years it exists. Well, of course the car is going to be reliable then. Like what I want to know is what happens after that. So like the mechanics are the ones that I trust, and like there are several mechanics that will like literally go through their computer systems and like tell you out of all the repairs they've done, how many are Hyundais, how many are Toyotas, what the problems are, how much on average it costs to repair. There's a bunch of YouTube channels now that talk just about that stuff, and like all European cars and Hyundais are like basically at the bottom of the list like almost every single time. Mini Cooper have gotten better, although they used to historically be really bad.
I'll
And then there are
believe that when
certain
I see it.
cars. What's that?
I'll believe that when I see
Oh,
it.
dude. Oh, you mean like the Mini Cooper thing?
Yeah.
I know, no kidding. I don't trust that at all. It's made by BMW, dude. That thing. I mean, when people say those are money pits, I mean that just could not be more true. I have never had such strange problems with a car ever as when I had my convertible BMW. I'm so happy I sold that thing. Any thoughts here, Lewis, before we move on
About CarPlay?
about anything? Anything?
Well, but the most striking thing about that call, that guy sounds like one of our writers. He sounds like Ed Hardy.
Does. Yeah. Very coherent
Notice that?
too. Which I appreciated.
His voice, it's very interesting. Yeah,
Stayed on point.
yeah.
Bonus point. Topics
funny,
actually
I was-
relevant. He worked 2 topics into a 1 minute long voicemail. That's points right there.
I plug my phone into. I don't have wireless CarPlay, and
Do you want me to send you a CarPod Go?
I already have a screen.
All right. I tried to do a giveaway. You know what? I should try to do another giveaway. I tried to
you
do a
got 2 of
giveaway, and no one contacted me. Like no one seemed interested
You
in
got
it.
too many of them.
They sent me 2.
Yeah, send one down.
You want to try one?
You should. What about you, Griffin? Do you have CarPlay?
I do not have CarPlay, but
Send it
my
to Griffin.
Prius has Bluetooth, and that's good enough for me.
Send it to Griffin. He's gonna love it.
You want to try it out?
I'd give it a go. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
I'll tell you what. Half the time, the plugged-in wired CarPlay does not go to the CarPlay screen for me. I have to like unplug it, and I think it has something to do with unlocking the phone. But I haven't figured out the magic sequence that must be turned off or turned on or whatever before you start the car or after. I don't know. It's like it's kind of annoying. You would think a hardwired connection would always be just solid as can be, but
Yeah, you would think that. Now, I should add, actually, you just reminded me of this fact, that the CarPod Go doesn't connect easily to sound from your iPhone. So typically what they want you to do is connect your iPhone to your car via Bluetooth. I don't do that because the Bluetooth in my car sucks and introduces lag. I think the sound from my phone is actually better than the speakers in my freaking Subaru, so I don't even bother. Speakers in my car suck, man. They're so bad. I don't even bother using them. I literally never use the speakers.
Gee whiz.
They're horrible. And the other thing is like you have to like plug in like an auxiliary cable if you don't want to use the Bluetooth and then plug that into your car. And I'm like, dude, I'm not even trying to mess with all this stuff. I mean, for me, my main purpose is the maps. Like I just like having the CarPlay maps up all the time. It's so much better than using my iPhone. And now I can just have the map continually working. That's like my main use case. I don't use a lot of the other CarPlay features, of which I know there are many. So like if you want the full CarPlay experience, then the CarPod Go actually might not be the best fit for you. All right. Let's boot up another voicemail. This one comes from Spencer. He's a Yahoo. Oh, no, he's at yahoo.com. Won't give you his full email address. I almost just said his email address.
Wow, that'd be great.
All right, let's see what Spencer has to say. This better be good. It's 1 minute and 5 seconds.
Hey, this is Spencer from Arizona.
Oh.
Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Oh,
I love the show. Keep up the banner.
thank you.
Lewis, the song you were looking for is called Foreplay/Long Time. If you ask for the wrong song, you're going to get the wrong song. Garbage in, garbage out, my friend. Secondly, we're talking
He just called you garbage. We got to find this guy. Unbelievable. He comes on our show. He calls you garbage. No, not going to happen.
Claims to love the show.
about learning Braille. As a blind rehab professional for 20 plus years, I tend to steer my patients away from Braille because it would take them years of daily effort to learn Braille, and they would never use it because we can get you that same book in audio format in a couple of seconds. Your iPhone can very quickly and easily read a print document out loud to you.
No way.
You can read. You can use Speak Screen to read from emails and text messages and so forth, and you can use software, the built-in software to have it read a print document out loud. So if you were deaf-blind, that'd be a different story. You'd be desperate to learn Braille, but otherwise, no. Keep up the good work.
Great message from Spencer. Wow. So he steers his. So did he say he's a blind rehabilitation? Not that wouldn't make sense. A blind. I almost said rehabilitation specialist. I don't think that exists. Maybe it does, dude. I don't know. Maybe it does. But he helps blind people interact with their environments, especially when it comes to like media and stuff. And that makes sense. That there's a lot of tools now that just read stuff to you, and you don't need to learn Braille. Which I think the conversation we were having before is, dude, Braille sounds like it would be impossible to learn. Like you're just feeling little bumps, and you have to
And it sounds like it is very hard to learn.
According to him, it is hard to learn. It's take him years. Which
is also probably why Apple has waited like this long to actually add like proper Braille support on the iPhone with this rumor, not a rumor, with what they announced at, a few weeks ago at their accessibility press release. But it's good that they're eventually getting around to it for those people who do need it and know it.
Dude, an AI is only going to supercharge this. I mean, I can't imagine trying to get Siri to recognize text and read it to you and have it be accurate, but like any of the other AI tools that are out there are going to,
Live text is really good and it's only getting better. Have you tried, have you used visual intelligence on your iPhone too much?
I haven't used it a lot, although I have been trying to make myself use it. Well, first of all, to even remember that it's there, and then try to use it. But it's kind of, you got to retrain yourself to think of these tools when you're in these different situations, because they don't always come to me right away.
Anytime like I need to scan text or anything, I don't open the camera for any like that. I've trained myself to like use visual intelligence for like, all the camera based stuff that doesn't involve actually like taking a picture or video. Like
Really?
It's getting better. Like I had to, my oven burner or whatever. No, not the oven. Like the heater element inside my oven has been broken a while. So
Okay.
I was like, trying to scan like model numbers or something off of stickers, and like it used to be like, if the text is at a slight angle and it won't work or anything like that. But it's getting even better every time. Like it is pretty reliable when I had to scan like a big long serial number and paste it into Google.
I do that too, actually. I'll use my camera and then use the optical image recognition and then like highlight the serial number or whatever and then go search for it. I mean, the camera one works quite well, I feel like. And especially when the text is small, I can't see, like, dude, I probably need to get glasses, to be honest with you. Like, I need to go get my eyes checked. Like, I'm holding things, dude. I'm getting full Tim Cook. If anything's like more than like, or less than like 10 inches away from my face, squinty as can be. And the writing oftentimes is just too small. I can't see it anymore. In fact, it's annoying because like when I wake up at night now, I'll look at my watch and like sometimes I can't see my watch. And I'm like, God, this sucks. I remember when I could like just look at things and see them, and now I can't do that all the time.
Welcome to my world.
I know, man. I feel for you now. I had no empathy for you at all, but now I have a little bit.
I'm glad you've opened your heart.
But the iPhone has been such a crucial tool for like taking pictures of things that are hard to read because like they're just not in a place where you can see them or they're too small. Like I wanted to get a serial number off my TV, which was pressed against the wall. So I slid my iPhone in there and took a picture of it. Then I could read all the text on the back of it. Like super useful. All right, we got one more.
Oh, no chance for the rebuttal on the.
Oh no, go for it. You got something to add?
That long time thing.
Oh.
Okay, let's get back to that. So okay, sure, I get it. The actual name of the song, Foreplay/Long Time. Right. So you go to the music app, you type in Long Time Boston. What's the top result? Foreplay/Long Time by Boston. Third on, fourth, fifth on the list is Long Time Live by Boston. My point is that it ought to be at least as smart as Siri ought to be at least as smart as that app. And it ought to be, when you specifically say not, do not play the live version. But that's the thing. That's the problem with Siri. It has zero context. It has no ability to do anything other than like, this is the one thing I have been told to do, and I now do it stupidly. And that's the problem. That's the problem. It's just
when Siri is worse than the music app on the Mac, then you know that Siri's in a bad spot.
Yeah, it's pathetic. I mean, it's anyway, and whatever. I wish I had recorded it because it was. I mean, talk about something stupid. Watching somebody, it's like it was almost like that scene from Curb Your Enthusiasm where he's yelling at Siri in his car. That I was just so enraged. I tried like 10 times to get it to just play the freaking studio version, and it just kept playing something that honestly it didn't even sound anything like I don't know how it misinterpreted my language to come up with whatever it did. And I have that happen all the time.
Me too.
On Apple TV too. It's
on the Apple TV. Oh, okay. The Apple TV for some reason seems to get things pretty correct for me.
I don't know. I still have times where I like say, "Hey, play this thing," and no, can't be done.
But the dictation.
Anyway,
at some point, Apple's going to flip the switch. And there's going to be an inflection point, and we're going to go from Siri in its current state to the new whatever, and it's going to be absolutely incredible. I mean, it's going to be like ChatGPT again, like in its ability to understand what you're saying.
Sure hope so.
I mean, even when I misspell things or misspeak or mistype, I should say, to ChatGPT, it still knows what I'm talking about, man. It's incredible. Unlike Siri, where I can master every jot and tittle, and it still has absolutely no idea what I'm talking about, right? It's change. I mean, its lack of context awareness is truly mind-boggling. Like it will come up with context. You'll be dictating to it. It throws a word or two in there that has absolutely nothing to do with what you're talking about, and it just does not know. And the AI, systems that exist out there, they're all so good. They never do that.
Yeah,
or they'll ask you like a follow-up question, like, "Did you mean this or did you mean this?"
Right. That is what is so. Like, I mean, I think we all knew Siri had its problems, but I mean, once ChatGPT came around, you're like, oh my God! Like the differences, it's just astonishing the difference between what those two voice interfaces can do.
Yeah, and the more you use it, the more you realize how far Apple is behind. Now, maybe they've got some magic card up their sleeve. I know TC, just his aggression alone is enough to get people to whip into shape. But when you see how far ahead these companies are, I mean, even Google, again, with the IL, man, like even Google was behind. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, boom, hey, you can now just use a prompt and create, any piece of visual media that you want. I don't know if you guys have seen like the videos floating around, like the super ironic meta videos of people. They're creating videos of people talking about like these conspiracy theories that their whole world is basically just based on a prompt, and they're talking to each other, and they're like, can you believe that some people believe that this whole world is just created by a prompt, and that's all we are, is just people created by prompts, and that's actually the truth. And the videos are so, just realistic looking. It's just unbelievable. The other new trend that I've been seeing is people making videos of content creators like basically doing anything to like get clicks, right? So like one of the videos I saw was a guy who was like, here we are at the top of some volcano. He's like, I'm going to jump into this hot lava pool. Yahoo! And he like jumps off and like splashes into the lava. And all these people doing things that would kill you, but they're willing to try them because they want to get the clicks, right? Like these alternate realities that exist inside of like these video worlds that are created from prompts. So mind-blowing, dude. I mean, yeah, it's like serious Matrix stuff right there. And it makes me want to spend the money on Google. On Google's like, I think you have to buy like their AI Ultra plan, which is half price for 3 months is $125, and then it goes up to $250 a month. To get access to like their newest video creation tools. But I mean, the amount of Imagineering that went into this, to some of these tools to be able to actually prompt your way through like a video timeline, truly cool. All right, let's do one last one. This is Alan from jolly old England. Ready?
Hello, Erfon, Lewis, and Griffin.
Cheerio.
This is Alan from the UK calling again.
Oh.
I had a message read out the first time you did that segment.
Yeah, I remember.
About my HomePod that I'd packed in. Just to keep you up to date on that, I spent several weeks slumming it with one HomePod, a mono HomePod, like an animal, and I finally decided I would take the plunge. And
I don't even know if I want to listen to the rest of this message. I feel like he's about to redeem himself, but just hearing that he only had one HomePod was enough to make me want to turn it off.
My broken one off to the repairers.
Oh, good.
Well, in less than a week, for £99, I got it back today, plugged it in, initialized it, added it back to the stereo pair, and wow, it is fantastic again.
Wow.
I think this is probably the best £99 I've spent in a very long time. So, Erfon, if you haven't done it yet, what is stopping you, man? You can get that HomePod back in action, as beautiful as the day you first heard it.
Yeah.
Thanks very much for the great show, guys. Bye.
Cheerio to Alan. Wow, he did it. 99 pounds. Oof. That's a lot of money. But this only illustrates how much people love their HomePods. Their original HomePods. There's just nothing like them. My two sweet angels that I have. I still have one. It's right behind me. The other one is still broken. What has stopped me from getting it repaired? Only lack of action and maybe some laziness. Because there's a guy who lives maybe 20 minutes from me who can repair it. He repairs HomePods for a living. In fact, if you're in the U.S., I've talked about him before. Like his main business is just repairing HomePods. And he knows all the things that go wrong with them. He's built interfaces for them so you can actually like reinstall the software. I mean, the guy is like a HomePod magician. I need to get that done, man. I need to finally, you've motivated me. I need to get in there and actually get the work done because I also miss my HomePod. I'm living with two minis right now, and it's just not the same. In fact, I often just connect to the one HomePod behind me. And yeah, so Darth Inkling, can he fix the death bar? Yes, he can fix it all. Well, I should caveat. I have heard him say there are some problems that he can't fix. But I don't know that that's one of the ones that he can't fix because I think that one was one of the common ones. And some
drop it off before you go on your month-long vacation.
Maybe I should
Be ready when it'll be back.
Yeah, I wanted to make a video. So like the thing that was stalling me is like I wanted to like go down there, take some camera equipment, make the video, and then I was like, oh man, I don't have time to like do all this stuff. So I just haven't done it.
But
if I forego,
Pro.
What's that?
But you have your new MacBook Pro. Haven't you made a new video?
I know. Well, now I've got that piece in place.
And do you have enough cameras though? That's the thing. I'm concerned
I
you don't
need
have enough
3 or 4
cameras
more cameras and operators for said cameras.
Yeah. With lighting crew.
And the lighting crew. Don't forget, like the grip guys and the sound guys and the makeup artist. I mean, and craft services. I mean, there's a whole, there's a whole series of events that has to happen here. But I do want to get him to repair it, and I'm hoping that he can repair it. It sounds like mine is one of the ones that just has a software issue, but he did say that sometimes there is a hardware issue that causes the software not to install correctly. So, but I will give you guys an update as soon as I have that work done. Okay. I think that's it. That's all the CultCast we have for you guys this week. But you know what? Griffin and Lewis and a special guest will be back next week. Not me. I'll be in Georgia and then in Florida listening to the show, maybe tuning in live. If we have a live show, we'll see how that goes. But I'll look forward to seeing y'all again in 3 weeks. But this has been the CultCast, the best 30-plus minute Apple conversation you're going to hear all week long. New episodes of the CultCast come out every Thursday night. I want to thank everyone for listening, for hanging out live, and we will see you guys. Well, I won't, but Griffin and Lewis will. Next time. Maybe I can call you guys from...
next week's episode, listeners, because there's going to be the predictions game next week.
Gotta call in for that.
I mean, I don't mind calling in, but as long as you don't mind this song in the background, it's a small world after all.
You're going to be hearing Molly Hatchet, man. You're going down to Gator Country.
You know what? Hey, if you use video, I can call in from my iPhone, and we can use the video from my iPhone. I mean, good luck figuring out how that works, but...
You can submit the Google form and be in there right with the rest of the
listeners.
Yeah,
or you can do that. Do async. We can do that too. I'll figure something out. I should probably do that. Or maybe I can just call in from my computer or something. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway.
It's the funnest time of the year.
That's true.
Prediction game week.
All right, everyone. I'm hurtling towards the end stream button as we speak. Have a great weekend. Bye, y'all.